After riding through town on day 1, hiking through the rain on day 2, we checked the forecast with hope for sunnier skies on day 3 in our trip to Kusatsu Onsen Town. If you didn't catch our ride to Kusatsu on day 1 or a hike up to the Osen no Taki Falls on day 2, and you like watching things in order, check out the link in the upper right hand corner of this video or in the description below for the full playlist of our trip this summer to Kusatsu Onsen Town. If you already saw those first 2 videos or don't mind things a bit out of order, then welcome to day 3 in Kusatsu, that I will call Searching for the Roasted Butt Hot Spring. After kitting up and getting our bags packed for the day, we set off in search of a small riverside hot spring that the locals call Shiriyaki Onsen, or Cooked Butt Onsen. From Kusatsu, we took Route 55 north through the secluded forest just outside of town. This road is really amazing, as it's one of those roads that seldom sees cars, and there are other faster routes for the cars to get from A to B. So it naturally leaves the road in quite good condition, and mostly to the hikers and cyclists. And, after 15 kilometers of tranquil, albeit quite soupy, undulating forest roads, we arrived at Shiriyaki Hot Spring.
Almost there. Woo! I'm gonna jump in with all my clothes on.
Ooh, it's coming down.
You certainly need to know what you're looking for here, as we shot right by it the first time. But there are a few signs to point you in the right direction. It's basically just across from the toilets and the ryokan, just before the bridge if you're coming from this north side. We were surprised to find another bath here under the roof, and after losing our drenched cycling gear, we headed towards the river to warm up in the hot spring water. And I gotta emphasize, it was really rainy that day, so it was almost as if someone had left the cold water tap on all night, and the hot spring was kind of far from hot. In fact, quite cold. Darn rain. But no worries, there's still a small bath under that roof there, yeah? Yes indeed, so we hopped into that one. For about 10 seconds. It must have been north of 50 degrees Celsius and was kind of unbearably hot. Still, it was nice to dip our legs into the warm water and watch the rain over the riverside before getting dressed again and heading back out onto our bikes. From here, another 2 to 3 kilometers along the river took us to our lunch stop for the day at a local soba shop. Soba is the quintessential Japanese countryside food, and you will never be in short supply of soba when out in small-town Japan. This particular shop is known for cultivating its own maitake mushrooms that they use in the soup and tempura. As we headed out, I talked to the shop owner about our ride so far and how we were unable to enter the river hot spring at Shiriyaki. He let me know that there's another riverside onsen just across the river from them. He mentioned it has a 500 yen fee per person, and you have to ask the lady at the tofu shop across the street for a key. Sounds reasonable, right? So we headed over to the tofu shop and gave the secret password to the lady. Onsen? And we were handed a key tied to a piece of wood and directions to the bath. Hop back on your bikes, cross the bridge, and on the left side behind the large building, you'll find a bamboo wall with an onsen behind it. I'll put a link in the description for the location to this tofu shop where you pay and get the key, as well as the bath. Be sure to bring your own towels though, because it's a very bare-bones onsen. Oh, and just like Shiriyaki, I forgot to mention, these are mixed gender hot springs. Just good to know what you're getting yourself into. On this day though, with the heavy rain coming down, I don't think there were many people out looking for hot springs, as it was completely empty when we arrived and for the whole time we were there. Luckily for us though, this bath's water was nice and warm. Not too hot, but also not too cool. Perfect for soaking and warming up as the rain came down. We probably spent a good hour in the bath, and to be honest, the thought of leaving the warm water to put on our soaked clothes and bike up a hill was not particularly appealing. But we knew we had to get back to town at some point, so we hopped out of the bath eventually and began climbing back into town on a small back road that we'd not yet used before, past the iridescent waters of the Shinaki Dam. If you've ever been to Kusatsu, you'll have seen the waters in the Yubatake in the center of town, which I talk about in the second video in this series. But actually, the area is full of different types of water sources, and the rivers that surround run all sorts of colors, from yellows and cyans to browns and reds from the different minerals in the hot spring water. It's one of the coolest parts of hot spring areas of Japan, and the Shinaki Dam had some pretty cool hues. It was about 10 kilometers back to town, and in true Kusatsu fashion, once we got back, we were ready for our third onsen of the day back at the hotel. In the next video in this series on Kusatsu, we will ride to the highest lake in Kusatsu area, Lake Nozoriko. Said to be Emperor Akihito's favorite hiking course in Japan, it's an epic climb and then a lap around the alpine lake Nozoriko. If you want to see the next video in this series, be sure to subscribe. And if you liked any part of this video, give that like button a hit so I can know, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks, and see you next time.